News, a preview of the 2019 Veterans Day service.
And a look at the annual Racial Justice Teach-In.
All that and more right now. Thanks for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Callan Cole.
And I'm Jacob Hitz. With Veterans Day coming up on Monday, SHIP ROTC is planning their annual Veterans Day ceremony. The ceremony will honor local veterans in Shippensburg and across the country. This year's ceremony will be led by senior ROTC cadet Evan Corman. Corman spoke out and provided his thoughts about the event and Veterans Day.
So this is probably one of my most favorite holidays, not only because it's celebrating something that I'm part of, the United States Army and all the other branches, but I think it's ever since my grandfather passed away last year, and he was very, very in love with the way the military was, the act and his service and everything that the men and women are doing now. I really think everything that he taught me up to his death really almost brought me to the position that I'm in now, how I need to honor them every day and to do it the best I can during this ceremony. So this is one of my very most important holidays, and I want to just do everything I can to respect all the veterans that come to this ceremony.
The Veterans Day service will start at 11 a.m. in Old Main Chapel. A student-run organization here at Shippensburg is trying to make a difference, and it seems to be making some headway. SHIP Votes, an organization devoted to getting students to the polls during voting season, has seen an increase in student participation this year. SHIP Votes uses tabling sessions in the Cub and outside the library to help register students to vote, as well as offering students rides to the polls when they are unable to drive themselves. While the organization does not have any data on exactly how many students have participated in this election, they are confident that more students than ever are turning out to have their voices heard.
Seeing us now from then has really shown that we've developed this relationship with the student body, and they are more engaged with us. So we have plenty of students come up to us, and we register them to vote. The rides to the polls, for example, each year becomes greater and larger. Students really value that opportunity because it's something that is hard to find when that time of the year comes around.
Students can find the SHIP Votes booth in the Cub on Tuesdays from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. where they can get registered to vote and learn more about the voting process. Shippensburg University's women's basketball team has partnered with Team Impact to sign 13-year-old Aaliyah Nash. Team Impact is a national nonprofit organization that connects chronically and seriously ill children with local college sports teams. SUTV sat down with the women's basketball head coach Christy Turn to discuss the importance of this partnership.
Well, I think, the impact that we have with signing Aaliyah Nash to our program with Team Impact is, it helps us to foster some inclusion for those that might not have the opportunities to participate in certain activities that we take for granted every day. And,
Aaliyah will be attending Raider basketball games throughout the upcoming season.
Thinking of going to grad school? Shippensburg University makes it easy with their graduate admissions checklist. SHIP has multiple grad programs, including master's, postmaster's, certifications, and more. To make applying easier, SHIP has an online application. Submission of the application, transcripts, and a $45 fee are the main requirements. Some applicants may need to take additional exams. If you have questions about SHIP's graduate program, email shipadmiss@ship.edu. For more information, check out ship.edu/graduate. Shippensburg's Department of Social Work and Gerontology hosted an event earlier today to help undergraduate and graduate students understand some of the most pressing issues in their field. SUTV's Andrew Hybeck has the story.
So this is the part where you actually are encouraged to talk with each other about what it was that you were thinking.
SHIP students and faculty gathered today in the Tuscarora room of Reisner Hall for a teach-in on racial justice. The teach-in focused on reproductive justice for non-heteronormative individuals, the relationship between race and reproductive issues, as well as available resources for these individuals. Students at the teach-in were encouraged to speak their mind and discuss new ways to help individuals who struggle with these problems. Many students at the event found the information presented useful and valuable for them in their daily practices.
Takes so many facets of other classes and like combines it into one, but you're using it and you can apply it to your day-to-day.
SHIP faculty members were on hand to help students grasp concepts, including Associate Professor Jaylene Galarza, who hopes that students will use these tools to effect greater change.
And the key to really making an impact is dismantling those oppressive systems like white supremacy that keep Black and brown communities from being able to live meaningful lives.
The teach-in wrapped up with a film discussion earlier this evening. I'm Andrew Hybeck, SUTV News.
For more information on social work events, students can email the department at socialwork@ship.edu.
Shippensburg University has received 2 grants to support the Shippensburg Community Resource Coalition, or SCRC. SCRC is a community partnership that provides service learning experiences for SHIP students. The first grant for over $100,000 was given by the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. This grant will help SCRC continue their work to create a community service site in Shippensburg. The second grant was given through an organization with the Shippensburg University Foundation. This grant will help the Healthy Shippensburg Project, which hopes to build a better SHIP community. The 2 grants will support a variety of opportunities for students as well as projects throughout Shippensburg. A community in Texas is mourning the loss of one member who lived their life to the fullest and touched many lives. SUTV's Hannah Grotti has the latest.
Just a representative of law enforcement. She was a representative of all those fighting cancer.
Abigail Arias, or better known as Officer 758, has lost her battle with cancer this past Tuesday. Arias was only 4 years old when she was diagnosed with a rare kidney cancer that affects children and went through 80 rounds of chemotherapy. When asked what she wanted to do in her final days, Arias said she wanted to become a police officer to help capture the bad guys. Back in February of 2019, she was officially sworn in with the Freeport Police Department as Officer Arias 758. Freeport Police Chief Raymond Garavy believes that the community will remember to live life like she did.
So take what she gave us, all the great memories, and follow her lead, and let's continue her vision, her journey, and her memory.
Abigail Arias was only 7 years old. Hannah Grady, SUTV News.
Scranton, Pennsylvania elects its first female mayor. Paige Cognetti is a registered Democrat, but ran as an independent. She will now finish the term of the former mayor, Bill Courtwright. He entered a plea deal on federal charges of bribery, conspiracy, and extortion and was forced to resign back in July. Courtwright's term would have ended in January of 2021. Cognetti is making history in another way. She's pregnant and will be the first mayor-elect to give birth. She hasn't been a Scranton resident for long. Cognetti moved to live with her husband, who is from the Scranton area. But she said she thinks the fact that she isn't from the area may have played in her favor.
I think being from Oregon, not being from here, is actually part of that. I think people are hungry for a fresh perspective. I think the fact that my husband's family has been here for many, many generations, so that paired together is something that I believe is really powerful. I think people are ready to move on from the corruption, and being a woman is one thing. It's really exciting to make history tonight, but I believe that my experience in the federal government, working in finance, I think those things are really what pushed me over.
Cognetti will be sworn in the beginning of January. A search is ongoing down south for a missing child.
An Amber Alert was issued Wednesday for a 5-year-old girl in Jacksonville, Florida. Police officers are searching for Taylor Rose Williams. A 911 caller says she was last seen in her room on Tuesday night, but when they woke up, the little girl was not there and the back door was unlocked. Police say they're not ruling out any possibilities at this point, including that Taylor left the home on her own or was abducted. Kyle Remick, SUTV News.
When we come back in world news, an Auschwitz survivor seeks police protection.
And an update of the Mexico ambush that killed 9 Americans.
This week on Know Your Ship, we learn how to spread more school spirit.
Let's send it over to Marley Bullman.
If you've been to any of our home games this semester, you may have come across a rowdy group flaunting red shirts and team spirit. This just so happens to be the Red Sea, our very own newly formed school section and spirit club. They attend home games for all sports and offer free face paintings and giveaways before football games. I sat down with President Tim Ruskowski to hear his goals for the club.
With this club? My goal is to make students more involved and to have a whole giant big family that supports everything with sports.
Their slogan is, quote, "Waves are louder than they appear," end quote, and they live up to the expectation. Joining is easy. It's simply show up, wear red, and be loud. You can check out their Instagram at SU_RedSea or email Tim at tr4175@ship.edu. That's it for this week's Know Your Ship. I'm Marley Bowman.
China continues to try and restrain gaming addiction.
Brady Fisher has this week's world news. Brady?
China announced Thursday new regulations aimed to curb addiction to gaming among minors. The new guidelines are China's latest move in an ongoing campaign to increase regulation of the gaming industry. Under the new rules, gamers aged under 18 will be banned from playing online games between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. on weekdays. Minors can only play for 90 minutes. And on weekends and public holidays, they may play up to 3 hours per day. The new measures also restrict how much money the minors can transfer to their online gaming accounts. Gamers aged between 8 and 16-year-olds can only top up 200 yuan, $29 per month, while the maximum amount for those between 16 and 18 will be 400 yuan, $57. The regulations are aimed at curbing video game addiction. China is the world's largest gaming market, accounting for a quarter of global revenue, according to market research firm Newzoo. Archaeologists have unearthed a one-legged skeleton in Russia that's believed to belong to one of Napoleon Bonaparte's generals. A team of French and Russian archaeologists discovered the 200-year-old skeleton in July during an excavation in the Russian city of Smolensk. That's about 250 miles west of Moscow. French historian and former soldier Pierre Malinowski led the dig and says he flew with part of the skeleton's femur and teeth inside his suitcase from Moscow to Marseille to compare the DNA with that of the general's mother, brother, and son. Charles Etienne Gudin died of gangrene after having his leg amputated during Napoleon's failed invasion of Russia in 1812. An 89-year-old Auschwitz survivor is now under police protection after receiving online and offline anti-Semitic threats in Italy, according to local reports. Liliana Segre was only 13 when she was deported to Auschwitz. She is a senator for life. She recently created a parliamentary committee against hate, racism, and anti-Semitism, also known locally as the Segre Commission. Liliana has become the target of aggressive social media attacks each day lately. She was assigned a security detail to Carabinieri police force officers after far-right Forza Nuova party members put up a banner in Milan on Tuesday near where Segre was speaking for an event, according to local media outlets. Right-wing opposition parties were absent when motion for the Segre Commission was approved last week. Liliana is one of the 25 under 14 children who survived after being deported to Auschwitz. Matt Rivers traveled to the site where 9 Americans were slaughtered on Monday. Visit the closest town and hear the residents' frustrations over what they see as an ineffective response from the Mexican government.
Well, it took us hundreds of miles of driving on small, winding mountain roads to get to this part of very rural northwest Mexico. And when we arrived, we found an area teeming with a military presence. At the checkpoints, soldiers covered their faces. Guns and armor aside, better to stay anonymous in such a violent place. Bienvenidos a Bavispe, the town closest to where 9 Americans were slaughtered on Monday. So this place is so locked down right now that we're being given a military escort to the area where at least one of the shootings happened. The massacre started here. This is the exact spot where Renita Miller and 4 of her kids, ages 12, 10, and 2 8-month-old twins, were killed. They were ambushed by armed gunmen, shot, and their vehicle lit on fire. This is what remains. Up the road a few minutes later, 2 more cars were ambushed. 2 mothers and 2 children also killed by gunfire. Another 7 kids escaped. They'd all left just minutes before from Renita's home, just a few blocks away. They were part of a community of hundreds of Americans, largely Mormon, who have lived here for a long time. Julian LeBaron found one of the bodies.
And then she was just laying on the ground when we came on her, and I could tell that, I could tell from the blood stains that they aimed for her heart.
The family wants to know who would shoot and kill women and children and then light their bodies on fire. We saw Mexican investigators at the scene on Wednesday. Might not look like it, but this area can be one of the most dangerous drug trafficking routes in the entire world. The U.S. is 100 miles that way, and drug cartels have been fighting over this land for a long time. The government says that could be the reason why the people on this road were killed. They say that maybe one cartel mistook that caravan for another, but increasingly so, the family of the victims isn't buying it. They think the families were specifically targeted by drug cartels, though they don't know why. This community has had run-ins with gangs before, but say this came out of nowhere.
We haven't been threatened, at least not in any way to suppose that women and children would be murdered.
Mexican President López Obrador campaigned on the need to reduce crime in this country, though Mexico's murder rate now stands roughly 6 times higher than that of the United States. The president insists his strategy of poverty reduction will eventually ease drug violence, but some are losing patience. And while authorities aren't yet saying who is responsible for this shooting, they are saying that the shooters used American-made firearms, firing some 200 rounds at 3 women and 14 children. Matt Rivers, CNN, in Sonora, Mexico.
That's it for this week's World News. Back to Callan and Jacob at the desk.
When we come back in entertainment, a production of Everybody kicks off tonight in Memorial Auditorium.
And Ellen DeGeneres receives a prestigious award.
Are you having a
Actually freezing rain today, but it was still pretty freezing.
The rain certainly made it a lot colder outside, and some parts of the state even saw snow today.
Yeah.
For really the first time this season. Let's take it to Drew Weibel with this week's weather.
This week in weather, it's looking like it's going to be cloudy with a chance of snow. And now tonight, as you might have guessed, it's going to be rainy with a low of 30. Then tomorrow, things clear up quite a bit, and a high of 41 can be expected. Then in the 5-day, the forecast looks pretty standard throughout most of the upcoming week, except for on Tuesday, on which an estimated 1 to 3 inches of snow is expected to hit Shippensburg. Now, I was not expecting to say, break out those snow boots on only the first full week in November, but if these weather patterns don't change in the next few days, they very well might come in handy. That's all for weather this week. Now let's head over to Brandon for the entertainment report.
Ellen DeGeneres was announced as the recipient of the Carol Burnett Award, which will be presented to her at the upcoming Golden Globe Awards show. She is the second ever person to receive this honor. The first was Burnett herself this past January. The award is given on the basis of lifetime achievement in television. DeGeneres has already been awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. She has starred in her own sitcom and for 17 years has hosted a popular talk show. The Golden Globes will be held on January 5th of next year. On November 5th, the ABC network presented The Little Mermaid Live. It was a hybrid show with the musical numbers performed by live actors at the Hollywood Bowl. The spoken parts were covered by clips from the 1989 animated Disney film. Many celebrities took the stage, including Moana star Auli Cravalho as Ariel, Queen Latifah as Ursula, and Graham Phillips as Prince Eric. Despite negative reviews, ratings were high for this television special. The airing comes at a time when Disney is about to unveil its own streaming service, which will likely include the original movie. Harry Potter fans only have to wait a little longer. The third installment of Fantastic Beasts is set to arrive in 2021. Production on the third Harry Potter spin-off will start in spring of 2020. Eddie Redmayne, Jude Law, Johnny Depp, and many others are set to return. Jessica Williams, who played Professor Eulalie Lally Hicks at the American equivalent of Hogwarts, is said to be playing a bigger part in the new film. J.K. Rowling and Steve Kloves will be writing the screenplay and will be back as producers. The first 2 films were in New York City and then Paris, and now the third film will take audiences to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The film is set for release on November 21st, 2021. Last night, the Theater Practicum class opened their production of Everybody. Maddie Schuler has more details.
The Theater Practicum class is excited to present the play Everybody.
The show is a 2018 adaptation of the 15th century morality play Everyman. It follows the character known as Everybody as he or she travels through life's greatest mysteries and a person's relationships with not only people, but things as well.
And even though there's some storytelling aspects to it, there's surprisingly a lot of comedy in it. Mr. Jacobs Jenkins has tailored this old play to a 21st century audience. And so there's things that we will recognize about our contemporary experience that is deep within this play. And I think that will make it relatable.
The play was written by Brendan Jacobs Jenkins and was nominated for the 2018 Pulitzer Prize for Drama. The New Yorker said, quote, "Jacobs Jenkins has written a play about love, or rather a play that shows how impossible it is to write about love, and it fills the heart in a new and unexpected way," end quote. Hannah Famulari plays the character Everybody and describes what she likes most about the show.
I really like that it connects to everybody. It's supposed to kind of display things between your friends, your family, your things you own, yourself, and really just contemplate and really put yourself into the character Everybody's shoes. You are the person on stage. It's relatable.
The theater practicum class has been working on this production since September and is looking forward to sharing the story with the audiences.
And we meet Monday and Wednesday for about an hour and a half, and we talk about more of the behind-the-scenes stuff. So we do like the scenic design, how we're going to do the staging, and then we have evening rehearsals. And we also have subcommittees, which I can let Cassie talk a little bit about.
I'm on the dramaturgy committee, which is kind of like the historical background of the show and like what it's about and all this. And then we have like costume design, scenery, like sound, lighting, and like we're all doing our individual parts to like bring the show together. And then we have, like Tyler said, we have rehearsals in the evening that we've mostly been focusing on like running through lines, blocking, and we've just recently started going to the stage to like get the actual blocking and the whole feel of the show together.
The small ensemble makes for the production to seem heavy on its cast, but also allows for profound relationships to shine through. The show has attracted much attention, and all 5 performances have sold out. The show continues tonight through Sunday, with performances starting at 7:30 in Memorial Auditorium. This is Maddie Schuler, SUTV News.
That's it for this week's entertainment. Back to you guys at the desk.
And 2 athletes named Athlete of the Week. Nolan Hoffman has sports right after the break.
Government is
Football looked to bounce back after last week's loss. SUTV Sports' Jordan Hanley has more.
Lock Haven visited Seth Gross Stadium as Shippensburg was looking to get back in the win column. After a bald eagle fumble on the first drive, Bryson Messina finds David Ballant for 21 yards and a touchdown to give the Raiders an early 7-0 lead. Later in the first, Luke Durkin takes a handoff for 7 yards, putting Ship up 14-zip. With 2 minutes left in the first, Dante Graham joins the scoring party from 5 yards out, making it 14-6. Now look what happens on the extra point. The kick is up and blocked and scooped by Deontay Wilson and takes it 98 yards to the house for 2 points. After a Kyle Haynes 4-yard touchdown run, Lock Haven answers with a Kyle Knight 1-yard touchdown run to make it 23-12. After a failed Ship 4th down conversion, Lock Haven marches down the field and finds Brian Green in the corner to put the bald Eagles within 3. But after that, it was all Shippensburg. Messina finds Winston Eubanks from 29 yards out to extend the lead to 10. An interception by Trey Paul would set up Sean Judge on this 12-yard touchdown pass to give Ship the lead 37-20. On the ensuing kickoff, Roland Norfleet comes up with the turnover in the red zone. So it's only right to break out the ice. That turnover would lead to this 20-yard pass from Messina to Eubanks to put this game out of reach as Shippensburg would go on to win 65-32. SUTV Sports, I'm Jordan Hanley.
Football will be back on the road this Saturday at East Stroudsburg for the rare 6:05 kickoff. Shippensburg field hockey was in action Tuesday night against the Millersville Raiders. SUTV's Ryan Sandy has more.
After a scoreless 3 quarters, we pick up action in the 4th quarter.
Rosalina Capadora fights through the Millersville defense for the first goal of the match, making it 1-0 Ship. Millersville was not going down that easy. After a few minutes, the Marauders capitalized with a goal of their own, tying the score at 1. One overtime was not enough for these two teams, a heartbreaker for the Raiders as Millersville takes advantage of the Ship defense and scores the goal to send the Marauders home with the win and advance to the next round of the playoffs. For SUTV Sports, I'm Ryan Sandy.
With this loss, Shippensburg was eliminated from the PSAC tournament. Shippensburg will wait until Monday to see if they get a bid for the Atlantic region. After 2.5 hours of wildly entertaining volleyball, Shippensburg remains as the only one-loss team in the PSAC. It was a fitting way to send off the senior class playing their final home match. Samantha Weber scored the match-clinching kill. Kendall Johnson became the 12th member of the 1,000 Career Kills Club. Gabrielle Johnson had her 15th double-double of the season, and Megan Forsberg earned 34 digs and 3 aces. Shippensburg starts their 5-game road trip to end the season beginning tomorrow night at Lock Haven. 2 volleyball players reached an impressive milestone last weekend. Seniors Gabrielle Johnson and Kendall Johnson both became members of the 1,000 Kill Club. Gabrielle and Kendall became the 11th and 12th Raiders to reach this achievement. Both achieved this recognition this past weekend. Kendall's 1,000 kill came on Saturday during the Raiders' 5-set thriller against East Stroudsburg, and Gabrielle took it a step further the day before against Kutztown by joining the 1,000 Club. Gabrielle is only the 8th person in school history to record 1,000 kills and digs in a career. Ship senior Samantha Weber was named PSAC Southeast Division Volleyball Athlete of the Week. Weber was crucial in a pair of victories over Kutztown and East Stroudsburg, totaling 38 kills, 6 blocks, and hitting .337 over the course of 2 matches. In a 5-set win over East Stroudsburg, Weber totaled 24 kills, including the match clincher to cap an 18-16 fifth set. Sticking with volleyball, Weber's teammate senior Megan Forsberg was named PSAC Volleyball Defensive Athlete of the Week. This is the first time a Raider has earned the league's Defensive Athlete of the Week honor. Just like Weber, Forsberg came up big in the pair of victories over Kutztown and East Stroudsburg. She recorded 54 digs, 8 assists, and 4 aces. In the 5-set win over East Stroudsburg, Forsberg moved into second all-time in Ship history for career digs. Weber and Forsberg performance this weekend kept the Raiders as one of the 2 remaining teams with 1 loss. Volleyball will be on the road tomorrow night as they face Lock Haven at 7 o'clock. Women's soccer was back in action on Tuesday night playing Mansfield. The girls started strong with junior Taylor Moore scoring in the first minute, followed by senior Izzy Waggle, who had 3 shots on goal in the first half. The Raiders won against the Mountaineers 7-0 in their last game of the season. The wrestling team got their season underway this past Friday by competing in the Clarion Open. 7 wrestlers finished the Open with at least 1 win. Sophomore Colton Babcock had the best finish of all time Shippensburg wrestlers as he was able to reach championship quarterfinals. Babcock finished the day with 2 victories by pinfall. Both sophomore Jake Downing and redshirt sophomore Austin Kluckner also won their opening matches. Shippensburg wrestler is back in action this Wednesday at Elizabethtown.
When we come back, the nation's capital gets a head start on the holiday season.
Stay tuned. Ready or not, or believe it or not, Christmas is right around the corner. And a massive tree in Red River, Mexico will be at the center of the holiday season in Washington, D.C. But it has to travel 1,800 miles first. Francesca Washington reports.
My, it's good to see everybody out here. It's good to see you.
Christmas came early in one New Mexico town this year.
Red River's a nice little Christmas community, so I think it's very exciting for them.
And at the center of it all.
And this is the tree that's going to shine up in Washington.
Of all the trees in the Carson National Forest.
This tree has the growth from the bottom up, and it does have that cone effect.
This 60-foot blue spruce is this year's People's Tree and will be on display on the west lawn of the U.S. Capitol.
It's gorgeous. You almost hate to see it cut down, but it's going to be such a statement, and it's going to look so beautiful next to the Capitol.
Today, hundreds of people gathered to watch crews cut down the tree.
This is something you don't normally get to see.
Cuesta Mayor Mark Gallegos did the honors.
You don't want to have any snags. You don't want to have any incidents where something gets stuck or your chain gets locked up underneath a tree.
Once the tree was cut, it was quickly lifted, then loaded up for a 2-week journey to Washington, D.C.
This tree is a beacon of light and inspiration and hope.
3 drivers will split the 1,500-mile trip.
This is like a parade. I don't think there's going to be a lot of showing off like this right here.
And the tree will make stops at nearly 30 communities along the way.
Oh man, this is, I mean, it's special.
Francesca Washington, KRQE, News 13.
Jacob, how do you feel about people talking about Christmas already?
We're only a week into November. I just think it's a little bit too early. I don't know about you.
No, I totally agree. Totally.
Well, that's it for SUTV News. I'm Jacob Hitz.
And I'm Callan Cole. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SUTV News, and check out our website, sutvnews.org.
We'll see you next week.